Raider Nation, buckle up because things are heating up fast around Las Vegas. The trade deadline is closing in, and there's no shortage of noise surrounding our team. All across the league, phones are ringing, rumors are flying, and the silver and black are right in the thick of it. The front office is clearly exploring options, and while nobody's expecting a total rebuild, it's obvious that some changes might be on the way. And honestly, when you look at where this team stands right now, doing nothing might actually be the biggest mistake of all. Let's start by talking about the defensive side of the ball because that's where a lot of these trade whispers are centered. Everyone's been hearing about Max Crosby and Tyree Wilson, right? But sometimes when teams call about those guys, they're really trying to test the waters on someone else, someone like Malcolm Kuntz. And that's the first name I want to talk about today. Kuntz is on a one-year deal, which already raises some eyebrows. He's shown flashes, but the fit just hasn't looked right. He's about to hit free agency after the season, and if the Raiders aren't planning to extend him, then moving him now might make sense. Think about it. Plenty of teams need help getting to the quarterback. Pass rushers are always in demand, and Kuntz has enough upside that someone will take a chance. One scenario that keeps coming up involves the San Francisco 49ers. Apparently, the Niners made some calls recently about edge rushers, even reaching out about Crosby and Wilson. So, it's not hard to imagine them shifting their attention to Kuntz. The idea floating around is a mid-round pick in return, something like a fourth-rounder for Kuntz, with maybe a late pick going back to balance it out. San Francisco is loaded with compensatory selections, and they're always looking to bolster that defensive front. From a value perspective, that trade checks out. Now, let's flip the conversation to the offensive line. There's one player whose situation has gotten more complicated than it needed to be, Jackson Powers-Johnson. If you've been following the team closely, you know this story. Powers-Johnson came in with solid potential, but somewhere along the way, it feels like the coaching staff lost confidence. He was benched for Alex Kappa in Week 7, and with the Raiders drafting Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant, it seems like the front office has already started planning for life without JPJ. That's why teams around the league are keeping an eye on him. The Houston Texans could be an intriguing landing spot. They've got a young quarterback they want to protect, and their offensive line has been shaky at times. Plugging JPJ into that unit, whether it's center or guard, could stabilize things quickly. The trade value might sit somewhere around a fourth-round pick. It's not a blockbuster, but it's fair considering his upside and the Raiders' current direction. For the Raiders, that pick could be a useful piece to retool the roster, especially if they're looking to stockpile draft capital. Now, the big question on everyone's mind, how many trades are the Raiders actually going to make before the deadline? Some fans say 0, others think 1 or 2. Personally, I think one solid move could be enough to shake things up. When you watch this team every week, you can tell there's potential, but something's missing. Energy, identity, something that connects the pieces together. If the front office decides to stay quiet and just roll into the bye week as if everything's fine, that would be concerning. Because let's be real, there are problems that need addressing, and pretending otherwise won't fix anything. Speaking of moves that could really shift the roster, there's another name floating around, wide receiver Jakobi Meyers. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why trade one of the more reliable guys on offense? But here's the thing. Multiple teams have shown interest, and Meyers himself has reportedly been open to the idea of a new start. He didn't play against Kansas City, and when a player starts missing games right before the deadline, that usually says something. The percentage chance of him actually being moved might not be super high, but it's definitely not 0 either. If there's one destination that makes sense, it's the New England Patriots. That's the team that originally gave him a shot, and despite how things ended, there's still a connection there. New England needs wide receiver help badly, and Las Vegas could use reinforcements on defense. A player-for-player swap could make sense here. Kyle Duggar has been on the block for a while, and pairing him with the Raiders' defense could fill a big gap in the secondary. For both sides, that feels like a fair exchange. Meyers gets a reunion with his former team, and the Raiders add a proven defensive piece. But enough about who might be leaving. Let's talk about who could be coming in. Because if the Raiders decide to buy instead of sell, there are a couple of players that fit exactly what this roster needs. One of the names generating a lot of interest is Tariq Woolen from the Seattle Seahawks. He's tall, athletic, and built for man coverage, something the Raiders haven't been doing enough of this season. Reports have suggested that Seattle might be open to moving him, mostly because he doesn't fit perfectly in their new defensive scheme under Mike Macdonald. That opens the door for Las Vegas to swoop in. A trade for Woolen could look like a fifth-round pick going to Seattle. It's not a huge price, but it gives the Raiders another young corner with serious upside. And it's not just about the physical tools. Bringing in a guy like Woolen could send a message that this defense is evolving, that the Raiders aren't content just to sit back in soft zone coverage every week and hope for the best. They need aggression, speed, and players who can match up one-on-one with the top receivers in the league. Another corner to keep an eye on is Alani Taylor from the New Orleans Saints. The Raiders have strong coaching connections there, and the Saints are quietly looking to pick up extra draft capital. Taylor has the versatility to play both inside and outside, which would be a massive help for a defense that's been patching holes all season long. New Orleans doesn't necessarily want to trade him, but if the right offer comes along, say, a package of mid-round picks, they might listen. And for Las Vegas, that kind of move could add both talent and depth to a position that's been stretched thin. At this point, the Raiders front office has to decide what kind of team they want to be. Are they trying to make a late-season push, or are they quietly preparing for the next phase of the rebuild? Either way, standing still isn't an option. With the trade deadline fast approaching and the bye week right around the corner, this is the moment to take action. You can feel it, the tension, the uncertainty, but also the opportunity. A few smart moves could completely change the outlook for the rest of the season. If the Raiders really want to shift the energy inside that locker room, there are a few more names that deserve to be mentioned in the trade conversation. One of them is Boy May from the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I get it, that's the second Seattle player I'm bringing up, but it actually makes a lot of sense. Pete Carroll's fingerprints are still all over That's where the Raiders could step in. Imagine Mafe lined up opposite Max Crosby, taking some of that pressure off the star pass rusher. The defensive front would immediately look more balanced. This is the kind of move that could quietly make a huge difference because it's not just about sacks. It's about forcing teams to change their blocking schemes, creating chaos, and letting the rest of the defense play faster. The price for Mafe wouldn't be outrageous either. Something like Jackson Powers-Johnson going the other way might sound steep at first, but if you believe in Mafe's ceiling, it could be worth it. It's the kind of football trade that gives both sides something they actually need. And when you think about what the Raiders are lacking most right now, it's speed and disruption. Too often this defense looks reactive instead of aggressive. Adding a player like Mafe or even Tariq Woolen changes that identity. Suddenly, you're not just trying to hold on, you're dictating the game. That's the version of the Raiders that fans want to see again. The one that punches first, the one that brings swagger back to the field. But while we talk about trades, there's also the bigger picture that needs to be acknowledged. This isn't just about swapping players. It's about setting a tone for the rest of the season and for the years ahead. The Raiders can't afford to keep drifting in the middle. Too competitive to fully rebuild, but not consistent enough to truly contend. It's time for the front office to take a stand and show what direction this franchise is moving in. Do they believe in this current core, or are they willing to reshape it for the long term? Every decision over the next few days will answer that question. What makes this trade deadline so fascinating is that it comes during a bye week. Normally, that's when teams get a chance to breathe, to fix what's broken, to plan for the final stretch. But for the Raiders, it feels like a crossroad. Standing still could mean missing out on valuable opportunities, both to improve and to send a message that mediocrity isn't acceptable anymore. The truth is, this team has been stuck in that middle zone for far too long, where expectations stay high, but results stay the same. And Raider Nation can see it clearly. Something has to give. Even around the league, other organizations are making moves. Players are asking for trades, contenders are loading up, and front offices are being aggressive. Linebacker Logan Wilson from Cincinnati just requested a move, which shows how quickly things can change. That's the energy this moment has. Everyone is positioning for what comes next. The Raiders can't sit this one out, not when the pieces are there for them to be active and strategic. If the right opportunity presents itself, it's time to pull the trigger. Let's not forget, this isn't just about improving talent. it's also about finding players who actually fit the system. Too many times the Raiders have gone after big names who didn't mesh with the scheme or the locker room. This front office needs to target guys who understand the culture they're trying to build, tough, disciplined players who bring consistency and leadership. You can tell when a roster is built with a vision, and right now, that's what the Raiders are missing. Moves like these could finally start to define who they are again. And from the player's perspective, this deadline is tense. Every phone call, every rumor can shift someone's future in a heartbeat. Guys are wondering if they'll still be wearing silver and black next week, or if they'll be packing up for another city. That uncertainty can be heavy, but it's also part of the business. The ones who thrive are the ones who channel that pressure into performance. That's what the Raiders need now. Players who respond, who take this moment as motivation to prove they belong. There's also the emotional side of this fan base that always plays a role. Raiders fans are some of the most loyal in the world, but they also demand accountability. They want to see effort, passion, and most importantly, progress. You can't sell hope forever without showing results. The city of Las Vegas has embraced this team, but the fans deserve to see a product that matches their energy. And that starts with the front office making bold, smart moves that actually push the team forward. As for the coaching staff, this is their moment to adapt too. If new players come in, the schemes have to evolve with them. You can't keep running the same predictable looks, sitting in soft zones while the league's best quarterbacks pick you apart. The Raiders have to mix things up, play more man coverage, and trust their athletes to make plays. The potential is there. It just needs to be unleashed. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be the most shocking move of the NFL offseason, whispers are swirling that Russell Wilson has officially parted ways with the New York Giants and is now reportedly heading to Las Vegas to join the Raiders. While neither team has confirmed the details, sources close to the quarterback claim that discussions have been ongoing for weeks and that a deal is imminent. The mere thought of Wilson in silver and black has sent fans and analysts into a frenzy, imagining how his arrival might reshape the Raiders' offensive strategy. After a tumultuous tenure in New York, Wilson's time with the Giants appeared increasingly strained. Rumors of locker room tension, coaching disagreements, and inconsistent performances had dogged the former Super Bowl champion throughout the season. Now, with the Raiders reportedly stepping in as a fresh start, insiders suggest that Wilson is eager to reinvent himself under a new system and a familiar yet high-stakes environment. Sources hint that Las Vegas sees Wilson not only as a starting quarterback, but as a potential centerpiece for a franchise looking to make a serious playoff push. The timing of this move has sparked speculation about what the Giants plan to do in response. Could this signal the beginning of a full rebuild? Or will New York scramble to fill the void with another high-profile signal caller? Meanwhile, the NFL rumor mill is ablaze, with fans tweeting mock-ups of Wilson in a Raiders jersey and sports pundits dissecting how his mobility and arm talent could fit with Las Vegas offensive schemes. Some are cautious, pointing out that Wilson has faced injuries in recent seasons, while others are downright ecstatic at the potential of a Wilson-led resurgence. For the Raiders, this could be a statement move, a bold, headline-grabbing decision that instantly changes perceptions about the team's ambition. And for Wilson, leaving New York may be exactly the shakeup he needs to reclaim the elite form that once magically different, with silver and black suddenly sporting one of the most electrifying quarterbacks in the league. The league, fans, and media alike will be watching closely. This is a story still unfolding, but one that could redefine both franchises in ways no one saw coming. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.